Welcome back to Loving Living Local. I'm Gretchen Wirtz, and we have got some medical amazingness here today. I have two amazing guests with me. First of all, Scott Elger, who had double knee replacement surgery in February and March and ran the St. Jude Memphis run in July. And how did he do this? Well, his amazing doctor. We have Dr. Richard Berger, who is an orthopedic surgeon at Midwest Orthopedics at Rush in Chicago. Dr. Berger, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yes, and Scott, thank you so much for joining us here today. How did you two connect? I guess I'll ask you first, Scott.
Yeah, my daughter had a knee surgery at Rush when she was in college at Creighton University in Omaha, and they sent her to Rush in Chicago to have surgery done. And while we were there, we read a little bit about other surgeons and things, and read about Dr. Berger. And then when it came time for my knee surgery, my daughter reminded me of Dr. Berger, someone who was a little bit more progressive and allowed people to run and do what they wanted to do after knee surgery, as opposed to being inhibited.
Yeah, so when you were first looking around to get your knees replaced, what did people tell you, that you were not going to?
Yeah, it's pretty much universally accepted that if you have your knees replaced, you can't do the high impact type of things like basketball, tennis, and running for sure. And so when I read about Dr. Berger some years ago, I thought, hey, this is really, interesting. I'm going to need this someday. And my daughter was nice enough to remind me, and she kept his contact information.
Amazing. All right, so Doctor, tell us a little bit about what makes you different. How do you get athletes and people back to doing what they wanted to do?
So what we do is we do minimally invasive surgery. That's a knee replacement without cutting the muscles, ligaments, or tendons. So it hurts less and it recovers faster, which is great, of course, but it performs more normally and more naturally. And that allows you to get back to things such as basketball, tennis, and running. And that allowed Scott to get back running very, very quickly. And most of my patients get back doing everything they want to do, whether it's walking the dog or running a marathon. They do all those things because of the minimally invasive surgery.
Do these knees, will they last as long as that other people that have had them done?
They probably last a little bit longer because the knee functions more normally, and the normal functioning actually protects the joint.
So minimally invasive, so you were able to do two pretty close together on him. Recovery was very quick for him?
Yeah, we did them about 6 weeks apart, which is what we usually do for patients that need both of them done. And they recover very quickly. So by the time the second one comes up 6 weeks later, the first one's almost recovered. And then the second one recovers, and then you get back to doing what you want to do. And Scott, a couple of months later, was already back running, and that allowed him to do this wonderful thing, which is help raise money for St. Jude's.
St. Jude, something that has been near and dear to your heart. You've done it for how many years now?
This was my 32nd run from Memphis. I've done a lot more years, but I missed a few along the way.
Yeah, so it was very good very important that you wanted to get back to doing this for St. Jude.
Oh, most definitely. I thought I was done, and it was depressing.
Yeah. And how does it feel when you run? So you did it, how many miles did you run just a few months ago?
Yeah, I'm on the team that does the short legs. I only do 3-mile legs at a time, and sometime I look for the legs that are even shorter than 3 miles. And typically in past years, we do 8-hour shifts, and then we switch to another team. And during my 8 hours, I just did one shift, and not very well. It wasn't pretty, but I was able to do it, and my knees held up great. It felt much better than the past years.
That's amazing. That's amazing what you guys are doing. And Dr. Berger, thank you so much for joining us today. And of course, you can find out more about Dr. Richard Berger at Midwest Orthopedics at Rush and find out more information there. And Scott, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story. Amazing what
thank you for having me.
We're able to get him to do again. So thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you so much. And we've got more coming up. Keep it right here.